The first box that you're going to see is kind of like a yellowish orange box. It's called your liquid term or your liquidity. And that's going to be all of your liquid assets. So think about bank cash, brokerage accounts, non retirement accounts is what's going to be considered your liquid accounts. Sam and Sally currently have enough liquid assets, again, non retirement accounts, to fund a little more than 6 months of their expenses. Now, if you look at the diagnostics of this, it's going to say that that's low. But for some situations, maybe they have more stable income, so we don't need to have as much cash sitting aside at one time. Maybe they're comfortable with having a little bit more risk, which means that they have a lower target cash reserve than some other people might have, and then they want to take the rest of the money and do something else with. So what I mean by that is we might say, how many months of expenses do you want to have set aside? Typically, the good rule of thumb is 3 to 6 months of expenses. For some people, especially when you start talking about spending, 10, 11, 12, 13, even 7,000 per month, 3 to 6 months can be a lot of cash sitting in a bank account. And we may say, okay, it may not make sense for you to have 30, 40, $50,000 sitting in the bank account, or it may be really hard for you to save up to that amount of money just because of other things that are happening in life. So let's pick a number that's more comfortable, and that number for you could be 10,000 or 12,000 or 15,000 or 6,000 or 32,000. Whatever your number is, we're going to talk about how you're getting to that number, why that number is important to you, how close we are to hitting that number, strategies for hitting that number. But then once we hit the number, any dollar above that number needs to be put to work somewhere else. And so now we're developing another plan for that. And that's just basic cash management. We're going to look at, if you have cash that's sitting in the bank, is it getting the right rate of interest? Is it in a high yield savings account? Is it all in a checking account? Is it all in a savings account? Is it properly set in place to have the right FDIC insurance? All of that stuff, right? If it's in a non-retirement account, right? Because sometimes cash reserve can also live in an investment account, and you can invest it. It doesn't have to sit in a savings account to truly be savings. But we want to make sure that has the liquidity. So if we're making investments in the market, can we get that money back in 2 days?